All right, so after tonight's game, the Bulls are officially now at the midway point of the season, completing 41 games after this loss, which I'll get to in a little bit on how much of a disaster that loss was. But after the loss, the Bulls now sit 18-23 on the season, sitting firmly 10th in the Eastern Conference. Last season and the season before that, the Bulls were 19-22 at the midway point, also sitting 10th in the East in both of those seasons. Hey, give them credit. They're consistent, I guess, but when you look at it that way and see just how this team has been trending over time, over the course of the last 3 seasons, remaining firmly stuck in the middle. Now, you could argue the Bulls might be a little bit in better shape in terms of their future this season than they were last year, with the Bulls going a bit younger, adding Jalen Smith, drafting Matas Buzelis, and of course, there is still hope that you might actually be able to get something of value for either Vucevic, Lonzo, or Zach LaVine, when literally last season, those guys were negative assets on the trade market. But regardless, it's still not good. And it's a pattern of mediocrity that the Bulls seemingly have been all too comfortable being in. And man, if the Bulls sit out this trade deadline yet again for the 4th straight season, you're talking about extreme front office malpractice that needs to be seriously addressed about keeping them on the job going further. But we'll save that for after the trade deadline and seeing how this team looks by then. Let's talk about this game though, but first I need to share a quick word from one of our sponsors. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Meet OddsJam, your ultimate ally in the world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sportsbooks under its belt, OddsJam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sportsbooks. This means you can lock in profits by betting on both sides of the market. But that's not all. OddsJam also provides a positive EV calculator to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to monitor your profits. By using OddsJam, you're not just betting smarter, you're betting more responsibly for long-term profitability. And here's the kicker, they offer a 7-day free trial. Ready to give it a shot? Use code BULLCENTRAL for a 35% discount on your first payment, either month or year. Secure your bets with confidence, make informed decisions with OddsJam. So as you guys know, the Bulls went into tonight's game against a very depleted Atlanta Hawks team that just played last night in Phoenix. Yes, I know the Bulls played last night as well, but they played at home and played at home yet again tonight. They didn't have to travel across time zones to get here. The Hawks were without their 2 best players in Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, and also their number 1 pick in Zachary Richache and DeAndre Hunter. So the Hawks were without 3 of their 5 starters and their 6th man. David Roddy, Keaton Wallace, and Vit Krejci started in this game for the Hawks, and the Bulls lost. Not only did they lose, they didn't have a single lead in this game tonight. Not once did they lead the game. I mean, right from the jump, the Hawks went on that 6-0 run, and right away I was like, all right, the Bulls are going to lose this game, aren't they? Like right from the get-go, the energy wasn't there. The guys didn't seem to care. They felt like they had this game in the bag playing against a roster of a bunch of reserves. And as we all know, the Bulls love playing down to their competition. Here's the thing though, the Bulls playing down to their competition has been a common theme in the Billy Donovan Bulls era. Like, it isn't just isolated to this season. That has been a theme dating all the way back to the 2020-21 season, where the Bulls would actually come ready to play against teams that were better than them and sometimes even beating them, like we've seen this season when the Bulls have beat teams like the Bucks, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Spurs twice, the Grizzlies, the Magic, but then they'll mess around against some of the worst teams in the league, or if a team has half of their lineup being out. Like, I know I'm not usually as critical of Billy Donovan as some Bulls fans are, but how do you not get your players ready and prepared for this game? How are you not getting in the ear of these guys and getting them focused? Yes, I know players are the ones that actually need to put forth the effort. They're the ones on the court. They're the ones that are actually putting up the shots, not Billy Donovan. But it would be one thing if this happened just one time or a couple times a season, where you have, a dud of a game and you lose to a team that you should have beat. This happens a lot. And in my view, that's a reflection on Billy Donovan and how he coaches these guys, because as much as some might like to harp on the roster construction and how you can't expect Billy Donovan to do too much when the front office doesn't set him up for success, in a game like tonight, where you've got G Leaguers getting rotational minutes, and aside from Lonzo Ball, the Bulls were fully healthy, including Ayo being back in the lineup after he missed the last 10 games. Your team clearly has more talent, and yet you lose the game. There's just no excuse for that. And yes, I know for the tanking crowd, they're probably loving this loss. And yes, maybe a loss like this makes up for some of those wins that the Bulls had earlier in the season that otherwise would have been a loss or should have been a loss. But can you really be happy with the way the Bulls played tonight? Like, even from a future perspective, because even for those who want the Bulls to lose so they can keep their pick, which I get, at the same time, you want to see some promise and good things to take away even in the losses. Tonight, outside of some nice plays from Aras Buzelis, what else was there to really be positive about and taking away from this game? Actually, I take that back. Julian Phillips also looked solid tonight too. He had some nice putback plays on the offensive glass. But outside of that, I mean, Kobe, another struggling game for him, shot 1 for 7 from 3, 5 for 15 overall. Patrick Williams, okay, finally got in double figures in scoring, hit a couple threes, but was a non-factor when he was playing with the ball in his hands. Most of the scoring came off the catch and shoot and was not that active defensively. 2 rebounds for Patrick Williams. Josh Giddey, 3 for 8, 7 points, 10 rebounds. Okay, great, nice, but a -20 when he was on the court. Dalen Terry wasn't even playable tonight. Billy put him in there. He had some bad plays and you just brought him right back to the bench. The Bulls had 20 turnovers tonight. 20. I mean, let's be real, that's really what killed the Bulls in this game. Some of them just silly, unforced turnovers. The ball movement wasn't there like we're used to seeing. The guys weren't getting downhill in transition. A lot of standing around and not cutting to the basket. Normally I would say, all right, you guys are a little too tired because they played last night. Well, so did the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks hadn't held an opponent below 100 points this entire season, and they are not a good defensive team, and the Bulls only scored 94 points in this game tonight. Turnovers, they didn't get up as many shots, and it didn't help that they shot the ball horribly. 22% from 3, only made 6 threes for the Bulls in this game, which I believe is a season low for them. Give the Hawks credit because their guys were out there hustling. They were surprisingly scrappy on defense. I mean, I guess that is one thing that you do really need to consider when you run into a team that is playing a bunch of bench guys and two-way players. Like, man, these guys are trying to show up and prove they deserve playing time. Some of these guys are playing for contracts, spots in the rotation, so it is going to be a different level of competitiveness, even if the talent on the whole is inferior to yours. But again, that's why you have to come ready to play, regardless of who you're going up against. And if it's something that is becoming a common problem, that's on the coaching staff to rectify, and they're just not doing it. I'll also say it doesn't help the Bulls when they don't have Lonzo Ball in the lineup. I mean, he's the guy with the best overall net rating on this team when you factor in his minutes. They obviously are going to miss his leadership and IQ, as well as his defensive tenacity and three-point shooting, which the Bulls absolutely could have used tonight. Of course, as you guys all know, Lonzo is not going to be playing in back-to-backs this season, so no injury specifically to Zoe. He's just not playing in back-to-backs, but he will be ready for the game against the Hornets, and we may get our first Ball Brothers game since 2021. That should be fun. We'll see if the Bulls play down to their competition for that game, though. Who knows? Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this game. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.